What if, in the summer of 1960, astronomers pointed a newly upgraded deep space telescope toward the outer solar system and saw something that should not exist? A world the same size as Earth. Blue oceans, white clouds, continental masses shaped eerily like our own, but arranged in impossible patterns, as if drawn by a different hand. A planet that reflected sunlight exactly like home, yet moved with a gravitational signature no model could explain. Within hours, military channels lit up across Washington and Moscow. Within days, the public learned the truth. Humanity was not alone in its own solar system, and the discovery of this twin Earth would shatter science, religion, geopolitical stability, and the story of our species forever. This series explores how the world changes after Twin Earth's discovery in 1960, from a rewritten Cold War space race to the first unmanned probes revealing alien ruins, to the political chaos triggered by evidence of life. Humanity steps into an era of fear and ambition. The 1970s bring the first missions. The 1990s mark colonization. By the 2000s, the truth emerges. Twin Earth was artificially constructed by an ancient civilization. And in the decades that follow, the planet becomes humanity's second home, and the key to facing a cosmic threat the builders fled. Across 5 parts, you'll see how society, technology, culture, geopolitics, and identity evolve when a second habitable world orbits within reach. What if humanity learned in the summer of 1960 that we were no longer alone, not in the galaxy, but inside our own solar system? The moment the newly calibrated Palomar plates revealed a pale blue sphere drifting just beyond Neptune, everything familiar collapsed overnight. Governments panicked quietly, scientists whispered urgently, and religious leaders scrambled to interpret the unimaginable. They named it Twin Earth. Within days, its size, rotation, and atmospheric signatures resembled our own so closely that the first briefing sounded like science fiction read aloud in war rooms. The Cold War instantly shifted into something stranger, a contest for cosmic understanding. Intelligence agencies classified the discovery, but fragments leaked into scientific circles, sparking a global intellectual earthquake. The question wasn't whether life existed there, it was why that world looked like a mirror forged in the dark. As the 1960s progressed, Twin Earth became the most secretive scientific project ever attempted. The United States and the Soviet Union formed an unspoken truce, not out of peace but terror. Neither side wanted to risk misunderstanding a planet that mirrored Earth too perfectly. Advanced telescopes were rushed into development under cover names like Project Parallax and Program Zarya. Every new image deepened the mystery. Mountain ranges, shaped like familiar continental silhouettes, ocean currents almost identical to Earth's, cloud structures suggesting similar climate cycles. Yet differences existed, eerie and intentional looking. A slightly higher axial tilt, unusual polar storms, and what looked like faint nighttime glows on the dark side. Some scientists claimed they resembled city patterns. Others argued interference, optical illusion, or atmospheric distortion. But the unsettling possibility lingered. If life evolved there, it evolved parallel to us. By 1965, the global scientific community had fractured into 2 camps. The first insisted Twin Earth was a natural coincidence rare, astonishing, but explainable through convergent evolution on a planetary scale. The second believed something guided its formation. Old philosophical debates returned with new force. Was this evidence of a designer, an ancient civilization, or something even stranger? Secret committees within NASA and the Soviet Academy debated whether humans were looking at a twin or a warning. In public, nothing was admitted, but in hidden archives, blueprints for deep space probes capable of reaching the planet by the late 1980s were drafted. The space race gained a second purpose. Not just reaching the moon, but eventually reaching our reflection. Meanwhile, the world's public sensed something was being concealed. The sudden urgency in astronomy funding felt too suspicious to ignore. Everything changed in 1969, the same year humanity touched the moon. During the Apollo 11 quarantine period, NASA quietly diverted resources to a classified imaging array. The new data revealed unmistakable patterns on twin Earth's surface, geometric formations stretching across coastlines and inland plateaus. They resembled structures, enormous and ancient, as if civilizations had risen and fallen long before humans walked on Earth. The discovery destabilized global politics. If the world learned there was evidence of intelligent life so close, nations feared mass panic or religious upheaval. The Nixon administration ordered full suppression. The Soviets did the same. But scientists, furious at the secrecy, began leaking fragments through academic channels. Whispers spread. Humanity might have a sibling planet, not only with oceans, atmosphere, and continents, but with ruins. By 1975, the existence of twin Earth was the worst-kept secret on the planet. Amateur astronomers were spotting anomalies. Journalists tracked government funding trails. Leaked Soviet cables hinted at geopatterns inconsistent with natural origin. Humanity was approaching a revelation it could no longer contain. The scientific establishment prepared for open acknowledgement, drafting papers and designing public briefings. The fear wasn't the planet itself. It was what humanity would become once it accepted that Earth had a twin, and possibly a predecessor. As Detente cooled the Cold War, both superpowers began discussing a joint mission. A probe capable of delivering high-resolution imagery from orbit. The world was on the edge of a new era, driven not by war or ideology, but by the need to understand the cosmic reflection staring back at us from the edge of the dark. By 1975, the scientific world was no longer whispering about the twin planet, now called Erebus. It was debating it on live television. The early images from the refurbished Voyager arrays revealed something that shouldn't have been possible. Radio-reflective patches across the planet's night side. They weren't natural formations. They formed geometric clusters, sharp angles, repeating grids. Dr. Elena Moravec pushed for a global investigation, arguing that humanity had stumbled onto either a geological anomaly or the first indirect proof of intelligent design. Governments tried to calm the public, but the truth leaked anyway, and panic mixed with fascination. For the first time, ordinary people began to imagine that Earth was no longer alone in its own backyard. The United States, the USSR, and a loose European coalition each launched their own deep-band listening programs. What stunned everyone wasn't what they detected, but what they didn't. No voices, no patterns, no language, just a strange rhythmic pulse, echoing from Erebus's equatorial band, repeating every 41 minutes. Analysts insisted it was some sort of natural resonance, but Elena argued it was a timed signal, something deliberately structured. Her papers were dismissed as sensational, yet classified documents later revealed top-level strategists took her work extremely seriously. They feared Erebus might host a dormant system, something built, forgotten, or still waiting. Meanwhile, the cultural impact hit full force. A new generation grew up obsessed with the idea of a hidden world in the solar system. Movies portrayed Erebus as everything from a utopia to a living planet. Conspiracy groups claimed governments were preparing for contact or invasion, and powerful religious movements interpreted the discovery as a sign of prophecy, dividing followers between hope and dread. For scientists like Elena, this noise made real research harder, but she refused to slow down. She believed the planet held answers, not just about the universe, but about humanity's role within it. The first real breakthrough came from seismic mapping. New long-range sensors detected heat signatures beneath Erebus's surface, too symmetrical, too evenly distributed. The models looked like an underground network, something vast and intentionally arranged. Elena presented her findings at an international summit, and the room fell silent. If Erebus hosted a system of artificial caverns or energy chambers, then someone or something had engineered it long before humans walked the Earth. Politicians instantly classified the data, calling it potentially destabilizing. Elena was furious. She knew classified secrets die in vaults, and she feared the world would miss its chance to understand the truth. Late that year, something happened that no one could hide. As Earth rotated into alignment with Erebus, telescopes around the world picked up a sudden surge, a flare of light on the twin planet's dark side. It wasn't explosive, it was controlled, like a beacon turning on. For 41 minutes, the exact length of the rhythmic pulse, the glow held steady, then vanished. The world erupted. Headlines declared the signal was a message. Scientists scrambled to explain it, and governments initiated emergency meetings. Whatever Erebus was, it had just responded, and humanity had no idea whether they had awakened a remnant of the past or something alive in the present. By 1990, Erebus was no longer treated as a scientific curiosity. It had become the center of a global geopolitical chessboard. The mysterious 41-minute beacon event of 75 had never repeated, yet its impact lingered like a shadow. Dr. Elena Marovic, now one of the world's most respected astroanalysis leaders, pushed for a unified mission. She believed Erebus contained a dormant structure waiting to be understood. Her opponents feared it was waiting to activate. Despite political tension, humanity launched its most ambitious operation yet. Project Janus, a coordinated attempt to map Erebus with precision never seen before. As data poured in, one conclusion became unavoidable. The planet's interior wasn't just structured. It was changing. Deep-range sensors detected a slow but measurable rise in subsurface energy output. Not chaotic, not volcanic, it followed a mathematical curve. Something beneath Erebus was powering up. Engineers compared the pattern to a staged boot sequence. Like an ancient system, reinitializing after centuries of silence. Elena warned world leaders that whatever was beneath the crust was not geological. It behaved like technology on an unimaginable scale. The public remained unaware until the first visible effect appeared. During an eclipse alignment, satellites captured faint hexagonal patterns shimmering across Erebus's atmosphere, each one pulsing like a heartbeat. Denial was impossible. Something was stirring. The cultural shock hit harder than the scientific one. Humanity was entering the final decade of the Cold War, and now both superpowers feared that Erebus could provide the enemy with unimaginable strategic leverage. Fiction turned into obsession. Books predicted alien return. Documentaries warned of ancient civilizations. Militias prepared for cosmic intervention. Through the noise, Elena remained focused. She believed Erebus wasn't a threat. It was a relic. A machine built by a civilization long gone, now reawakening due to natural orbital alignment. But without proof, her voice was drowned out by military strategists who pushed for defensive protocols. In late 1990, Project Janus achieved its greatest breakthrough. A high-resolution echo scan revealed a massive structure near Erebus's northern hemisphere, a cylindrical chamber spanning hundreds of kilometers, perfectly aligned with the planet's axis. Within it, sensors detected rotating metallic fragments suspended in magnetic balance. Elena compared it to a turbine except one, built inside an entire world. Governments panicked. If Erebus housed the planetary-scale machine, its activation could release energy rivaling a star's output. Fearing disaster, world leaders attempted to halt all scans. But it was too late. Erebus's internal readings continued to climb. Could humanity handle the existence of a second Earth in our solar system? By 2010, decades after Erebus was discovered, global awareness had shifted from speculation to obsession. Scientific communities debated openly, while governments covertly raced to understand its implications. International space agencies collaborated to build massive observation stations and launched unmanned probes toward the alien planet. The geopolitical landscape transformed. Nations with advanced rocketry gained sudden leverage, redefining old alliances and rivalries. Economically, stock markets reacted to every new signal from Erebus, as investors speculated on resources and potential technological booms. Social media amplified theories, fears, and conspiracy narratives, creating a mass public consciousness fixated on what this discovery could mean for everyday life. The first unmanned probe reached Erebus orbit by 2015, revealing a bizarre terrain, floating metallic spires, sprawling crystalline formations, and vast energy arcs across its atmosphere. These observations stunned scientists and engineers. Nothing matched human expectations of natural planetary formations. Governments began drafting contingency protocols for potential contact, exploitation, or defense. Technology accelerated. AI systems were designed specifically to analyze Erebus's electromagnetic anomalies. Quantum sensors became mainstream, and orbital construction initiatives were fast-tracked. International cooperation existed in theory, but underneath, espionage and secret projects competed to control access to Erebus's data. By 2020, humanity faced its first crisis of interpretation. Erebus signals began showing repetitive, patterned pulses. Were these natural phenomena, or something intelligent? Entire research divisions devoted themselves to decoding the signals, blending linguistics, mathematics, and AI-driven pattern recognition. Public fascination peaked. Erebus was no longer a distant curiosity. It was a symbol of the unknown, a mirror reflecting both hope and fear. Education systems incorporated it into curricula. Entertainment media thrived on imagined scenarios, and even religions began framing Erebus within prophetic narratives. Humanity collectively grappled with the implications of an intelligent or at least highly organized neighbor. Society also experienced subtle yet profound shifts. Nations invested heavily in technology infrastructure to interpret Erebus, driving rapid advancements in AI, energy harvesting, and orbital logistics. Cultural exchange became global in scale, fueled by simultaneous digital access to ongoing discoveries. Economically, sectors connected to aerospace, data analysis, and quantum computing exploded, while older industries struggled to adapt. Meanwhile, ethical debates surged. Should humans attempt to contact Erebus? Could it respond with hostility or benevolence? Scientists warned against premature interference, yet public pressure mounted. The world teetered between a technological renaissance and potential existential risk. As 2030 approached, humanity stood on the brink of transformation. Erebus had fundamentally changed politics, economics, culture, and philosophy. The planet's mysteries pushed innovation to extremes, forcing a re-evaluation of humanity's place in the solar system. Plans for crewed missions, orbital settlements, and direct communication experiments were underway. The world collectively realized that human history had irrevocably shifted. The existence of Erebus was not a distant possibility, but a pressing reality. The next decades would determine whether humanity would thrive in the presence of its twin world, or be unprepared for the challenges it presented. What if humanity finally set foot on Erebus? By 2030, decades of observation, probe data, and AI analysis had prepared the first crewed mission. International coalitions funded orbital stations, advanced spacecraft, and experimental life support systems to reach the mysterious planet. Political dynamics shifted dramatically. Nations capable of interplanetary travel gained unprecedented influence. Economically, investment in aerospace, quantum computing, and AI skyrocketed, reshaping global markets. Socially, humanity collectively imagined living alongside a second Earth. Education, media, and culture revolved around Erebus, creating a shared vision of exploration, cooperation, and risk. Fear and wonder coexisted as people realized they were no longer limited to a single planet. When the first crewed mission entered Erebus's orbit in 2035, the team encountered environmental phenomena far beyond imagination. Floating crystalline towers, glowing energy arcs, and dynamic atmospheric storms that defied known physics. Scientific instruments recorded unprecedented electromagnetic fluctuations, forcing a rewrite of planetary science, materials engineering. Humanity's understanding of energy, navigation, and life support advanced at a pace previously impossible. Political and military strategies also shifted. Space became the new arena for diplomacy and security, while treaties were drafted to prevent conflict over Erebus' potential resources and technologies. By 2040, orbital settlements and automated mining platforms were established. Humanity began harnessing Erebus' abundant exotic energy resources, sparking an interplanetary energy revolution. Cultural and philosophical paradigms shifted. Religions, art, and literature grappled with humanity's place in a broader solar system. AI-managed resource networks ensured efficient distribution, while international collaboration became essential to maintain orbital infrastructure. New scientific disciplines emerged: Erebusology, interplanetary ecology, and quantum communication reshaping education and research. Humanity now faced both unprecedented opportunities and ethical dilemmas. Should Erebus be terraformed, exploited, or preserved? As 2045 approached, the first attempts at direct communication with possible intelligent signals on Erebus intensified. Data hinted at patterns, but ambiguity remained. Was Erebus's intelligence biological, synthetic, or incomprehensibly alien? Humanity faced the ultimate existential question: how to coexist with another world that could observe, respond, or influence human activity. Economically, technologically, and culturally, humanity had accelerated centuries ahead, yet the unknown presence of Erebus reminded all that progress carried both promise and risk. The solar system was no longer a single stage. It was a shared domain demanding careful stewardship and bold imagination. By 2050, humanity had irrevocably changed. The discovery of Erebus in 1960 and its subsequent exploration had transformed politics, technology, economy, culture, and philosophy. Humanity now understood that it was capable of interplanetary ambition and cooperation on an unprecedented scale. The twin planet inspired wonder, fear, and unity. The next decades would test whether humanity could responsibly expand, adapt, and thrive in a solar system that suddenly had two worlds and possibly two intelligences. Now, as you reflect on this journey, what choices would you make if your species had a second Earth to shape? Share your thoughts in the comments below. As we look back on humanity's journey from the discovery of Erebus in 1960 to the first steps on its surface in 2050, it becomes clear that a single astronomical revelation can reshape civilization. Every field science, politics, economy, culture accelerated beyond what previous generations could have imagined. Humanity's ability to explore, adapt, and collaborate on a planetary scale has been tested and proven. Yet with every leap forward came new uncertainties, ethical dilemmas, and responsibilities. Erebus was not merely a new world. It was a mirror reflecting the choices, ambitions, and fears of humanity itself. The discovery challenged our perception of isolation. Suddenly, the solar system was no longer Earth-centric. Communication, resource management, and even philosophical thought had to expand to accommodate a second, fully inhabitable world. How we organized society, allocated technology, and managed interplanetary politics became a blueprint for survival and cooperation. Humanity had to rethink hierarchy, ownership, and the distribution of knowledge, all while ensuring that ambition did not outpace caution. The stakes were cosmic, the consequences irreversible. By 2040, the cultural, educational, and technological revolutions were undeniable. Humanity's imagination had no ceiling. Literature, art, and storytelling explored life on two worlds. AI-driven innovations connected human colonies across millions of kilometers, and science advanced at an unprecedented rate. Yet with achievement came reflection. How should humans interact with an alien ecosystem? A planet that may harbor its own intelligence or delicate balance. The questions of stewardship and morality became as urgent as those of engineering and exploration. Looking forward, the existence of Erebus offers a humbling perspective. It It shows how much potential humanity has to reshape its destiny when curiosity, collaboration, and vision align. But it also warns that every choice carries consequences that ripple through society and time. The Second Earth was not just a new home or a scientific frontier. It was a test of human responsibility, creativity, and foresight. As we imagine the decades beyond 2050, we are challenged to balance ambition with care, progress with ethics, and power with empathy. Now, imagine you were part of the generation shaping this interplanetary future. How would you guide humanity's choices on Erebus? Would you prioritize exploration, preservation, or expansion? Could humans responsibly manage two Earths without repeating the mistakes of the first? Share your vision and thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could be the spark that inspires the next chapter of humanity's journey.